Welcome to Glaze's Geezer Garage. If you guys have not joined us before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. What we're going to talk about today is project planning. So the biggest thing I like to do when I go through a project is understand the big question, why? Why am I doing this project? Is it a project for myself, yourself? Is it a project for a friend, a customer? Is it a project for yourself or a friend or a customer and they're going to sell it? Those are three major things you have to ask yourself because it has everything to do with the build. And what I mean by that is, if it's for yourself, is it a car you already have? Or is it a car that's your dream car? If it's a car for a customer, is it a car he already has? Or it's a dream car he's looking for? The other thing is, if it's a customer yourself who's building a car to sell, typically you're picking the car because it's a car that's a very much desired car, a collector car, a rare car such as this 63 split window coupe, but something that is hot at the time, something that's selling big, for instance, C2 Corvette resto mods, and all resto mods really. But if you watched Barret Jackson this year, 2025, you saw a lot of C2 Corvettes. You saw them going very high. So let's get into more detail about a project. So project planning, what does that mean? If this project is for yourself and you have an existing car and you're going to keep it, that can simplify things because sometimes you fit the car build into your budget, not the budget into the build, and I'll explain that a little bit more. For instance, right over here in my shop, this 56 Chevy, when I first restored it 27 years ago, I was on a budget. I had the car already. It was my dream car. I had it since I was 17, and I had around $20,000 to $25,000 to spend. Now, it turned out to be a beautiful car. Could have I done a lot more with a more modern drivetrain stuff? Yeah, a more modern chassis, yes. But I didn't have the budget at the time. I had two little girls. I was raising them. They were very young. So that's what I mean if you're building a car for yourself. It's not exact, it's what you desire and what kind of budget you have. So your desires and your budget may not always match. So the same thing if you're building a car for a friend. And let's go back. That car, I still have it. So that means I wasn't building it to sell it. I was building it to finish it because it was my dream car. It's something I bought when I was a teenager, and I'll probably never sell it. It'll probably be passed down to one of my daughters, unless they want to split it right in two and hang it on their basement wall. But just joking. But and the same thing if you're doing a project for a friend or a customer. If he already has the car and it's a car he's had for years, then it really depends on his budget. But where it really gets interesting, if you're building a car for a customer yourself that you're going to sell, that also depends on your budget, but it also depends on what kind of money you're trying to make. And what I mean by that is, let's take this 63 split window coupe. I didn't have this car. I didn't have it for years and say, I want to finish this. Believe it or not, you guys have seen the second episode, I think, or third, how I found this 63 split window coupe. It was purely accident. A customer and a friend of mine came to me, said, hey, my neighbor has this old Corvette. I want to know what it would take to fix it up. I want to buy it, drive it around. Once we saw the Corvette, it needed tons and tons of work. If you go back and look at that video, right here's a link to it, you can kind of watch that. But the bottom line is, it was too much of a project for him. He wasn't a big car guy. He liked the car, but he wasn't willing to spend that kind of money to get it back. The frame was completely rusted in two. Barely got this car on the trailer. It wasn't the original motor. It wasn't the original interior. So it would have never been an original numbers matching car. I could have made it a numbers matching car. But believe it or not, it would have cost me about 80%, maybe 70% of what this build is costing me to put it back to numbers matching. It would have never been original because it didn't have all the original parts. So I made a decision based on that, even though this is a rare car and the purists are freaking out because I'm doing a resto mod. But it could have never been an original numbers matching. It could have been a numbers matching. For me, I'm building this car to sell. After I investigated what these C2 resto mods are going for, especially 63 split window coupes, I made a decision to do a resto mod. Now I want to clarify something for you purists out there. I would never turn a numbers matching original Corvette, any Corvette, into a resto mod. We're spending the money on a project so we can do what we want. But anyway, I want to show you guys what helped me make that decision. I didn't just say, hey, the car looks rare, I'm going to buy it and make a bunch of money on it. I started investigating it and really did my work and investigated what these things are really worth before I decided how much money I was going to put in it too. So let me show you what I did. When I found out how much money I could buy it for, which was very reasonable, I'm not going to go into the numbers, but it was extremely low price. I knew I couldn't go wrong. I actually went to the computer, as luck would have it. I typed in on eBay 1963 split window coupe body, because basically that's all I was buying. And believe it or not, there was one for sale on eBay back there about 2 years ago for $50,000. So I knew I could purchase this, basically only the body, which is the only thing that was left, and make money, even if I just flipped it right then. So I made the decision to buy it. After I purchased it, that's when I really went to the computer. As I said, everybody has access to the interweb, as people call it. And the first article I found was this article. We're going to put the link right here. But it is an article by Haggerty, and it's 13 customized Corvettes that sold over 250,000 this January. And that was in 2022. So the article is February 14th of 2022. When I went through that, looked at all these resto mod Corvettes, or as they call them, customized, that convinced me. I really started leaning toward a resto mod. What I like to do when I start working on a project is I create a 3-ring binder. Simple, have a nice picture here, print it out, slid it in there. But I like to visualize, so that's what I like to do. Then I started categorizing things. What I have here, because I've already started, these are outstanding orders. Just a few little things in here. The next thing I had was planning. So the other thing I did, we'll get to this spreadsheet, but there's another article I'm going to talk about. But here is that article. I printed it out. 13 customized Corvettes and sold over $250,000. Now I know this sounds kind of interesting, but I've been married for 44 years, and any big money decision I make, my wife and I make it together. I actually used this article to show her that we were making a wise investment to build this resto mod because it's a considerable amount of money. So I printed that out. I keep that in case she asks me a question. I can show her this article again. And then I just broke this down because I like to break it down. So chassis, I broke it down by chassis. You can see here's just some notes. And here's investigation. This the rear brakes on the chassis I bought, which is a Roadster Shop chassis, which is basically a C7 Corvette. It shows me how to do the whole emergency brake thing, but these are just notes and things I do. But one of the things I do is I put in here, this is my order from Roadster Shop. So you can see that. But anyway, I break it all down. I sort of give you an idea. I had chassis, drivetrain, wheels and tires, wiring, the body. You see here's an original wiring diagram. You can see the body file is very thick because I've done a lot of work on the body already. Exterior trim, paint, interior, and original parts. So in Google Sheets, you can see here I created a spreadsheet. You see here I have broken down, titled it, what section of the car, the component, what is the estimated cost, what is the actual cost, who's the vendor, and delivery. Now I'll tell you right now, I'm way behind on filling this out, but I plan on getting the rest of it filled out this week or this weekend. But over here to the side, what I call a side spreadsheet, I know there's a name for it, I was trying to make some decisions on the engine. So do I go with an LT4 or do I go with an LS3? I'm glad I did this comparison because what happened recently was, found out they're not making the LT4 anymore. Very difficult to get. You can buy used ones. I didn't want to buy a used one, so I had all the estimating done for the LS3. So that just helped me make up my mind. I had narrowed it down to these two motors, or engines I should say. Motors are electric, engines are combustion engines. But you can see here I did save probably about $8,000 by going to an LS3. But yeah, the spreadsheet is very helpful to me because I like to visualize. But if you go down, you know, this thing is pretty long. If you know how to do spreadsheets, you can do a tally there. You can see there, one of my first estimates was 81,000. I can tell you right now, that's low because I didn't have all the, you can see here for wiring harness, I actually didn't have that price in there yet. There's a lot of components I didn't have priced in there yet. So definitely going to be more than 81,000. But anyway, it gives you an idea of how I like to handle projects and how I stay, I guess, have a handle on the project. They don't get out of control. So another article I found just after the Barrett-Jackson 2025 is a review of 12 cars that caught our eye at Barrett-Jackson. So let's look at again, just found it on the computer, but I want to show you guys since 2022 what's going on with these resto mods. This is the article, Auction Highlights Resto Mods That Turned Heads at Scottsdale, in Scottsdale. The first car that is highlighted is a Jeff Hayes 63 Split Window Coupe. Yes, folks, it's $990,000. Now, Jeff has a great name. Look at the motor right there, LS3, which I'm using. Now, he has an automatic transmission. I am actually going with a 5-speed TKH. The second car was another Jeff Hayes. It's actually a twin to the split window, but it's a 67, I believe. Yes, folks, it's $935,000. Then we get into a Nova. A Nova went for $803,000. A Lincoln Continental, $660,000. A 61 Corvette, $550,000. A 58 Corvette, $528,000. A Lincoln Continental, $440,000. These are all resto mods, folks. There's another Corvette. That's a 68, I believe. $418,000. 61 Corvette, $390,000. So you get the picture, folks. So this article confirmed that I made the right decision to build this car. The bottom line, folks, I feel is if you're going to build a project, if you're going to do a car, and if you're going to keep it, that's one thing. Make it fit your budget and your desires. If your friend's going to build a car and you're going to help him out, same thing. If you're going to build a car to sell, make sure that car's value is going to be a lot more than what you put into it. And some of the other things that have an effect on that is how much work you're going to do yourself. Now, your time is valuable. Now, I'm retired, and I decided I love doing this. So, but I'm going to have a year and a half, and I work out here every day, not 8 hours a day, but 6. But I have thousands, I'm going to have thousands of hours in this car. Now, I love doing it, but I could have made more money staying at my job for another 2 years. So I guess it depends on how you look at it, but I love doing this. I know I made the right decision because resto mods are hot right now, especially 63 split window coupes. I feel very confident I'm going to make my money back and then some. So I got lucky, but there are other projects out there, just like the Nova you saw win at Barret Jackson. If you can do this work, they're making money. So hope you enjoy your project, plan well, stay within budget, and have fun at it. That's the biggest thing. Have fun at it, guys. Enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching Glaze's Geezer Garage. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's free. This costs you nothing. We don't even bug you with any kind of thing. It's just you'll get maybe a reminder here and there. It doesn't cost you anything. But please subscribe, share, and give us a thumbs up. Give us a like on this. Appreciate you guys watching. See you next week.